Ladies and gentlemen, today I have the pleasure to welcome a friend of mine, Miss Margo Burdek. Um, she's going to help us unveil the secret of herbs and in some time talk about her organization called Herbal, Herbal Goddess Healing. Miss Margot, thank you very much for taking your time and joining me on the Human Right Tree.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's so nice to be here and so nice to reconnect with you after many years.
How's life in Arizona?
Now, it's sweet and beautiful and interesting. I live in northern Arizona, so a lot of people don't know this part of Arizona. It's a mountain region. We have four seasons. We have snow. All the leaves are falling right now, and it's getting colder. I think the only thing that we have in common with the southern part of Arizona is that we have a lot of sun. So we are mostly sunny region. We never get that hot. We don't have the Phoenix hot. So it's a little nicer here, easier to live with the temperatures. It's never super hot in the summer.
Mm.
And I can grow a garden in the summer, which is nice.
So it's a beautiful place to be.
Yes, I live in the mountains
Mm.
amongst beautiful big ponderosa pine trees, and it's been only a blessing since I moved here. It's been beautiful.
I see. As I indicated, one of the purpose of our conversation will be to unveil the secret of herbs and talk about your work, which is a life purpose work. When it comes to herbs, when the journey began.
Um, so the deep roots of my passion for herbs probably come from my upbringing. So I grew up in Poland. Um, I spent a lot of my childhood in the mountains of Poland, southern Poland. And both of my grandmothers had farms and they live in forest area. So I remember my grandmothers always taking me with when they were foraging or harvesting herbs on their fields, in their fields. So there was always there, and also in Poland, just like a lot of Central Eastern European countries, herbalism is just a normal thing. It's part of our lives. We drink herbal teas. I travel to Central Europe every year because I forage there and I bring herbs here with me. And, it's very common to go to a pharmacy and you can actually buy an herbal medication at the pharmacy. Even doctors prescribe it. So herbs are very present in everyday life in Poland and other countries in that region. So it was always within me, but I truly got back to it after living in US for quite some time. In my late 20s, I went through a lot of physical health issues and I had to have a brain surgery, and everything was very stressful. And I was already into supplements and taking some herbs, but I wasn't really paying attention. After these issues, um, my world just changed. And it seems like a lot of people wait for that moment in their lives to wake up, and I woke up.
Mm.
And I started the journey with natural health and herbs by working in a health food store. Then um, I opened with a friend of mine, we opened an apothecary in the suburbs of Chicago, and I ran that apothecary for 9 years. I really got into trainings during that time. I got to meet, more herbal remedies. I started slowly, um, formulating. But the true essence and passion woke up when I moved here to Arizona almost 9 years ago, where after a few years of training with energy healing, I was trained to facilitate energy healing sessions, and I had this passion for herbs, really strongly growing within me. I needed to bring these two different healing modalities together. And of course, the spirit heard me and took me into this beautiful school in California. So back in 2019, I became an apprentice at this beautiful wise woman tradition school in Malibu. And that's where everything kind of came back to me, the deep remembrance, sitting with the herbs, meditating, just tuning into the plant spirit world. It was nothing new to me. It seemed to me like I've done this before and I just needed to remember. So that's where I think everything just opened up for me and everything made sense. And since then, very quickly after that, I opened Herbal Goddess Healing. And from then on, it's been beautifully unfolding and
Mm.
it's been a beautiful path.
Has been a
Hmm.
beautiful journey.
Yeah.
You indicated, um, you talk about your grandma,
Yeah.
and I recall in Africa often the pers- the first person that who kind of guide us often is our grandmothers, because our parents are busy trying to make a living, and often, can you tell us a little bit about your grandma and how she was able to shape your view on what come to herbs? And tell
Oh,
us the
thank you.
environment also you grew up, because I think
Yeah.
our environment affect us. You cannot
Yeah.
you cannot live in Warsaw in this downtown city and talk
Yeah.
about herbs. You have to be in the environment where herbs are
Yeah.
available, and you have a connection with nature. Can you take us to those days?
Yeah. Thank you so much for asking the question. That's such a nice question. So both of my grandmothers live very close to each other. So my siblings, my cousins, and I, we would spend, a little bit time here with one grandma, my mom's mom, and then a little bit time with my dad's mom. They both had farms. They both lived in the same region. So, there's a big influence coming from both of the grandmothers. They both, like I said, especially back then in the 80s when I was, a child, um, the memories that I have that I remember are from the 80s. And Poland was a very different country at the time. We were so connected to the earth, it was so important for children to spend time in the countryside, especially that I, grew up in the city. My parents will take us away from the city as much as possible. So the entire summer, 2 months was always in the countryside in the mountains. And the grandmothers, they just did their thing and they just brought us with. So if they went to the fields, we would go with the grandmother, right?
Mm.
If she went foraging, we went with the grandmother. It was just like a normal thing. And I always wanted to be close to my grandmothers, especially particularly my dad's mom. I have a very I remember a lot of, stories from her. She taught me, poetry and she read to me and and also something that I've learned just not too long ago, after my grandma passed away, this particular grandma passed away, I've learned that she not only worked with herbs, but things that she never told me. I guess it was kept a secret for safety reasons. This is, Poland at the time was extremely Catholic. It's still pretty religious, but I've learned it from her daughter, my aunt, that my grandmother was helping women with different issues. um I don't know if this is too much, but I'm just gonna say it, like, she was undoing spells, so she was doing some interesting work,
Mm.
magic work. And I've learned, just a couple weeks ago from having a beautiful experience, in connection to my ancestors, that her mother was a midwife, worked with herbs, and also worked with a magic realm. She was undoing spells, she was helping women who had different issues. So it seems like it's in my bloodline. And trust me, I don't say this. This was a lot for me to take in, to understand why am I going, why I'm following this path, which is so strongly rooted in my heart. But now I have more understanding why this is so important to me, why I work with women, why I, need this healing work to be shared with others. and also for me, so I can heal my wounds of the past. It's because my grandmothers, they shared that with me. And going back to the stories of my childhood, um, yeah, like, you know, both grandmothers have farms, so we always participate in all the farm work. And if we needed tea in the fall, we would go to the attic and pick up the St. John's wort tea that was drying and hanging in the attic, or linden leaves and flowers were drying there, or raspberry leaves were drying there. So there is just, it was always there, it was always present to have herbs around. And I am
mm,
so grateful that I have this background, just
mm.
so grateful to have these memories. It just, it's so beautiful that I mean, it was just normal, yet it seems like it was a gift,
Yeah.
you know?
I see certain similarities. I know we're talking about herbs, but I'm going to bring a very sensitive issue because I see similarities between your country of origin, Poland, and where I come from in West Africa, Guinea. Because in the early days, the in our society, at least in the Fulanese and the whole of culture, women did play a big role when it come to healing. But with the emergence with new religions, often there was problems. Despite them having the secret to heal, they were called witches. Was it the case in Poland?
I think so. I mean, I remember there were women who did a lot of magical work, but they were more perceived as healers.
Mm,
And because they were always kept quiet, you could not openly talk about them.
mm,
So I think my grandmother and my great grandmother, they both did a work of a witch, or in Poland we don't call them a witch, we call them wiedźma or wiedma, which means a medicine woman, more
mm,
than what a witch means in English, but it's kind of the same in a way. Um, and of course, it was not okay with the church to do these things openly, like undoing spells. Like, what does it
mm,
even mean, right? Like clearing an energy for somebody because somebody, whether it's a human or even I've learned just recently that a lot of the undoing of spells was on, let's say, the farm stock, like the livestock, the cows, the pigs that were getting sick constantly, or somebody's cow wasn't giving enough milk or not at all. Then they will call in this local village, medicine woman, and she will work on the energy of that particular,
mm,
cow or pig or whatever, to undo the spell. But she was helping women. In majority was women. So yeah, everybody had to be kept quiet. And
mm,
I remember my grandmother, especially this grandmother, she was very fearful of God, and she was in church all the time. She was very religious. So I feel that I always wondered why she's so, I mean, I went to church as well, at the time I was Catholic. So, but she was overly religious. Like, and I think maybe she was doing it out of guilt or protection. So
mm,
people don't say she's a witch, because if she wouldn't go to the church, I think people will probably turn against her. But because she
mm,
was a church member, it kept her safe. So this is just my thinking, my process of how I see this. I don't know the truth, but I'm just drawing these conclusions from the observations when I was a child and a
mm,
teenager. I left Poland when I was 19. So yeah, and then who are witches? Like, to understand what a witch is. I am a witch, right? A
mm,
witch is a woman who sees and feels beyond the mind and has a connection to nature, to the natural world. That's all it is.
mm,
That's all it is. And we always act from a place of love, nothing else.
yeah,
Whether somebody decides to take it to a different place, it's their decision, and it's their lives. But being a wiedźma, that's what we call it in Polish, or being a witch, is just the woman who goes, who walks that path of healing and sharing love and helping. Of course, the mainstream, of the past 60, 80 years turned it in a completely different image, that we have now. But yeah, these are just women and men who heal. Yeah.
Basically, we can say you come from a family of healers. Is it the case? Mm,
Um, yeah, I never thought about it this way.
mm,
But maybe, yeah.
mm,
Yeah. These kind of statements are so overused these days. Everybody wants to be a healer, and we are. So many of us are healers. We don't have to know any particular modality to help somebody heal. But because of what's going on in the social media, I'm very careful with any labels. I'm very
mm,
careful what I say. I am just humbled by the life given, and regardless all the difficulties and hardships that I
mm.
encountered in this life, I'm so grateful because it brought me to the place where I am right now. And you know, it's if I am coming from the family of healers, I am blessed to be here. I
Mm.
humbly accept it. Yeah.
As you indicated, at young age, you came to the United States of America, and through that process, you decided to keep the teaching of your grandma when you come to herbs. Um, and further, you went to for more education. Can you tell us that process? How did you end up in school learning the secret of herbs? And how was
Yeah.
your experience? Mm,
Yeah. So I mentioned that before, but when I was running the apothecary, I was exposed to a lot of different trainings, and I wanted to learn everything, about herbs, about supplements,
mm,
about nutrients, just to heal my body because I had a lot of issues at the time. And of course, through that, I've learned to help others as well. But then, I kind of got on a path of energy healing medicine, which is a little different, 100% intuitive, energetic healing. And that helped me go through a lot of mental patterns. And then I arrived to a place where, okay, I knew a little bit about herbs. I was already with energy healing. What do I do? How do I bring herbs and energy together? Like that was my question. How do I connect these two modalities together? And that's where I I've traveled to California. It's only like 6 hours away from where I live to the Los Angeles area. And in two, I ended up in this little town called Topanga, which is right on the ocean, beautiful hill. And
I'm going to repeat the question again. As you indicated, you learn much from your background, from your grandparents. However, you came to the United States. And my question was, what are the educational path you took, you know, to become a professional healer, if we can say it that way? Mm,
okay. Yeah, so I think that my childhood definitely set a tone for what was to come in my life. It just took me like 30 years to get there.
mm,
And I think that the what really led me onto this path is that at some point of my life where you know and it seems like everyone has this point when whether something life tries to break you, the
mm,
life circumstances are trying to break you. For me, it was my marriage at the time, right?
mm,
It was so difficult. It was so hard for me to be in it. So when I left that marriage, it was a point of breaking. I had to break free. I had to move away from, this very difficult environment that I lived in for about 10 years. And it was time for me to step into my path. And of course, did I know it at the time? This was when I was 33. No, but all I knew is that I had to do it. I needed to get out and I needed to come back to myself, whatever that was. I didn't even know what it meant. So I think that that path was the unfolding was just learning to trust my intuition. And this is where you're going to hear from everybody who does any kind of, coaching, healing work, is that at some point we are being asked to return to the essence, return to the intuition. And all the decisions that I made at the time, including this big decision of not following the doctor's order to have another MRI and to have another surgery. I just dismissed it all. People ask me, well, how did you know not to do that? I said, I don't know how. I just decided not to go that path because, whatever they did before, it didn't work for me. So I had to choose something else. And I chose just me taking care of myself. And I think that was the biggest the biggest step forward or towards where I am right now is that moment, approximately 17 years ago, I said, no more treatments, no more MRIs, no more visits. It's not working. Everything that you've done hasn't worked. It's time for me to step into my own trust. And did I know at the time when I was doing it? No, I just decided not to do it anymore. Now I understand that I trusted myself and I followed my intuition. So the past 17 years of doing everything that I did, learning all the new things, stepping into that, herbalist path, the energy healer path, it was just following my intuition. It was
Mm.
just listening to my heart. And people say, well, how do you do this? How do you know? I don't know. You just know. You just know that this feels good. And if it feels good to me, it must be good for me. And whatever doesn't feel good to me, I'm just not gonna go there. At least I'm not gonna jump onto it right away. Maybe I'll need some time with it before I decide to say yes. So I think that's the path. That's the path of becoming this person that I am today, the woman that I am today. And I'm 50 years old, and I just love, the all the decision that I've made in my life, including, the decision of the marriage and decision of leaving the marriage, a decision of leaving the conventional medicine and trusting natural healing, natural path, herbalism, supplementation, healthy eating. Because, a little side story, when I after having the brain surgery to remove the tumor, this was when I was 30. I think I was 30, exactly 30. I was 30 years old. I was told that it's everything's gonna be fine. My health will come back to normal. And just a few months after the surgery, the tumor came back, it grew back, and nothing came back to normal. I didn't know what normal was because I always had health issues since I was a teenager. So, they pushed me to the medical establishment pushed me to take more steps towards another, surgery, or let's do radiation or something, and literally scaring me that I'm going to lose my eyesight if I'm not going to do anything about it, if I'm not going to follow their recommendations. And there's just something within me was like, no, I'm not going to do anything else. I'm done. I'm just going to walk away. And I'm not telling people to do that in their lives. This is just my story. I'm sharing my story. So I followed that intuition. And I think this is we are, where we need to come to ourselves. I'm talking about in general, people, we are energetically, we are being, not pushed, but gently encouraged to come back to the heart, to come back to the intuition, both men and women, because it's such a beautiful, force, loving force to take us on our path, on our journey of healing. Without intuition, we live in fear and we doubt ourselves constantly. That intuition is it's the whole mechanism of putting us back on the path into the purpose that we came here for, us, beautiful beings that are born in the human body, right?
Mm.
So that is the path. It's the path of trusting, following the intuition, and all the training and schooling and everything. It's just another step to come into myself, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I perceive it.
If I understand your sayings, basically you are telling people that at certain point you need to find a way to overcome your fears, and you don't have to have a specific plan. You just have to overcome and trust at the universe that thing will be okay, and you don't have to have all the whole control and things. And I think is quite very important, because I talk to many people, and often they worry, if I do this, what's going to happen to me? And they don't have a clear plan. And the teaching I through listening to you is you don't have to have a clear plan. You just have to trust. You just have to overcome your fears and follow your journey. But in your case, I think you um, the the healing things come from health issues. If I understand what you were saying, you have a health issues and you was trying to path a path to heal, and you decided that the herbs will help you in your healing path. However, you went to different school also to learn, to learn. Can you tell us your experience on those school and the people who share their knowledge, and how their knowledge impacted you as a healer today?
Oh, okay, yeah, of course. So I'm going to share about two places that had the biggest influence, I would say, in my life,
Mm,
and kind of guiding me to the path, to my journey, and keeping me on that journey. So these are my beautiful mentors, and I had a few mentors that are very have brought a lot of significance into my life. But they would take another hour to talk about. So I'm just going to mention these two organizations.
mm,
So the one that a friend of mine who became my mentor later, he guided me into this beautiful energy healing program called Transcodes.
mm,
And Transcodes is just a it's in a way it's a program school that teaches us how to come back to ourselves, how to come back to the heart, how to bring the chaos of life and the need to control into a peaceful path. And it takes time. So I joined this program. I think I was in it for about 3 years, maybe a little bit more, and I left the program as a trained energy healing, transcode energy healing coach. I trained for three different levels of energy coaching, including clearing, doing energy clearing, energy just a general energy coaching, and I facilitate remote sessions and in-person sessions, which help people come back to their heart. So Yona Brindis is the founder and the creator of the school, and the school is still, obviously this was 10 years ago, but the school is still doing great, and it's an international school. There's people from all over the world, and it's all remote, so it's very easy to access, it's very easy to be part of it. And it really, honestly, it gave me that first big change. Like, it opened me up to, oh wow, I can actually heal these aspects of myself by doing this inner work. So that was the first thing. And the outcome of, starting to return to myself, was coming to Arizona, where I work with a mentor for about a year and a half. And then I found the school, the Gaia School of Healing and Earth Education, which was like a program that was teaching us how to tap into the wise women tradition, the ancient traditions of healing with herbs. Um, Pretty much based on the teaching of grandmothers of all over the country, all over the world. So the the wise women tradition is the tradition of our grandmothers.
Mm.
of different backgrounds. So it could be from Europe, it could be from Latin America, it could be from Africa. It's just unwritten, traditions of healing that come from mostly women, medicine women. So just within the last 40 years, some herbalists begin, kind of gathering the information and writing books about it. There is a writer and herbalist, Susan Wheat, and she wrote this beautiful book called Healing Wise. So that was part of my curriculum. And so I went to the school in Malibu. The school was held on a private farm in Malibu, full of herbs everywhere. So
Mm.
for almost a year, I traveled from Arizona to California monthly for these beautiful few day gatherings. So it was learning, directly with the earth, following the wheel of the year, following the changes of the seasons and what herbs grow when and how do we work with them and how does it change our energy and how do chakras align with all of it and how the energy healing happens with herbs and with the changes of the earth. And it was just this beautiful, complex, yet such a natural way of learning. And and so these two schools of healing, one was strictly energetic, the other one was mostly based on herbalism and traditional healing, really influenced where I am today and brought me into this. Of course, on the path to that, I've learned a little bit more about traditional Western herbalism, which is more of a clinical herbalism. I've learned from these master amazing teachers, herbalists, Matthew Woods, who's one of the best herbalists here in the country, Seja Popham from the Evolutionary School of Herbalism. And finally, this earlier this year, I've joined a program, a training to become a naturopathic practitioner, a licensed naturopathic practitioner, and my teacher is Dr. Elderberry Sulis. And so this is like bringing all the other aspects, everything that I've learned so far, into a new way of helping people. So when I finish this naturopathic school in about 2 years, I'll be able to use different tools, not, the energy, the herbalism, but also these ancient tools of ariodiology, like the eye reading, the tongue evaluation, pulse evaluation. So I am an ongoing student. I love to
Mm.
learn. I did on that journey of the past 17 years, I've done a lot of self-learning. I've done a lot of self-trainings where I've read, X amounts of books. But ultimately, I always wanted to find a teacher that would somehow, put everything into form. So I appreciate my teachers, Jonna Brindis from the Transcodes and Marisha Mirnovska from the Gaia School of Healing, and now Dr. Alderberry Ellis from the Naturopathic School. Like I appreciate all of them. And this is, all these teachers, notice they're all women, all these teachers, I needed to meet them to heal my feminine within me.
Mm.
Um, that aspect of, because I come from a family where my mom played a main role in the house. So the archetype of a mother was a little confusing because, not that my dad didn't have anything to say. Yeah, he did, but my mother had the last word in a way. So it's nice to come back and learn about the archetype of feminine. There's more balance. And with these coaches, with these mentors that I had in the past, I've got to learn that. I got to learn the healthy archetypes of women, the healthy approach to who I am as a woman and what I can offer, with less control and less need to get things done, but more of intuition and patience and acceptance.
I see. Um, you share your educational journey. I feel like you went um, from learning from your grandmother to seeking knowledge through many mentors. At certain point, you decided you yourself you wanna do the work and you wanna share. Um, this is can be question. Because you may say, well, I was seeking on knowledge and I'm getting it and I'm going to keep it for myself. But you decided you want to do it your life work and you created Herbal Goddess Healing. Why you decided you wanted to share and why you decided to create Herbal Goddess Healing as an organization?
Hmm. Yeah, that's yeah. So Herbal Goddess Healing came to me when I understood that everything that I was learning at the time was already within me.
Mm,
I mentioned that in the beginning, it was like a deep remembrance. It all came back. It was nothing seemed new to me. Everything I was learning at the time seemed like I already know it. I just have to remember it all.
mm,
um, the 20 years of herbalism allow me to really feel free in this topic, in this field of herbal healing. So there was just so much of me that I wanted to share that I could never just, I don't think I would be able to withhold it within myself and just keep it. Since I was a child, and I remember my grandmother on my mom's side, she would always tell me, when you grow up, you're going to be a teacher. And I said, no, Grandma, I don't want to be a teacher. And she's like,
mm,
you'll see, you'll be one, because I always played a teacher when I was a child with my cousins. And I became a teacher when I was in my 20s. I was a preschool teacher, teaching little kids.
mm,
And it didn't seem like that's what I want to do. It wasn't fulfilling my heart desire. It was just the job. I was pretty good at it, but I got really quickly, I got tired of it, and I left after barely a decade of doing it. And I kept seeking, what is it that I want to do? So when all this knowledge poured into my brain, everything just came to me, you know, I hope I don't, I want to, make sure I don't sound very proud or anything, but like this wisdom came forward. Like the deep remembrance. I just knew. Like, oh my gosh, like I know this stuff. This is nothing new. And after I completed the schools, I was like, okay, I'm ready to share. Like, I don't need, I was already practicing herbalist. I was already, working with herbs, making remedies. It was, I didn't go to the school to learn it. I went to the school to connect the dots. That's the way I see it. Because I was already, working on with herbs for a while. And, the 9 years at the apothecary really gave me a nice glimpse into what I know and what I need to learn. So the Herbal Goddess Healing was born out of the need to bring herbalists and energy healing to the people who might need it. And at the time when this was all becoming, I was already working in a community, doing things in a community. I work in a health food store here in Arizona, and people just felt so drawn to me, and always wanted to talk, and I always had so much to share. So it just became natural, just naturally happened. I just sat down one day and I said, okay, I'm ready to do this. I'm going to build a website. I'm going to be sharing these energy healing sessions. I would like to do, herbal consultations. Um, it's not about money so much. I had a full-time job at the time. I just want to do this. I just want to share.
mm,
And literally a year later, I left the full-time job, and because it was too much, and I couldn't do the full-time job. I was a manager at the health food store, and do what I wanted to do. I opened a herbal studio here locally in our little town, and I was doing workshops and meditations. So Herbal Goddess Healing just evolved from a deep desire to share everything that came to me, to everything that I remembered and everything that I'd learned. So it was like a beautiful, beautiful tuning into that flow, that inner flow. And I want to say is that Herbal Goddess Healing, um, the name does not reflect me as a person, that I am Herbal Goddess. And a lot of people think that, and it's okay they say that, but to me doesn't mean that. Herbal Goddess healing is the healing that comes from the earth. Herbal Goddess is Gaia. It is that frequency, the energy of the earth, the love, the unconditional love, the beautiful divine feminine energy that flows within every human being on this planet. So Herbal Goddess healing is the healing that comes from the earth. It's the energy adjustment, it's the herbalism, it's the intuition, tapping into your intuition. So that is what I bring into the life. And there's so many of us, there's so many of us that we bring that beautiful herbal goddess or its other goddess aspects into life. And as we are into the new age of Aquarius. And in the new age of Aquarius, this energy healing, this new intuitive healing is only going to gain more and more, for lack of better word, power. Like a lot of human beings on this planet will shift into that healing, more intuitive, more natural, if not only natural healing. So I'm just flowing in that, I'm flowing, I'm going with a river of
I
what's
see.
happening.
Mm. If somebody comes and knock at your door, I'm assuming people come to you with different issues, and I'm going to try to resume them in three ways. I Some people may come with physical issues, also may come with mental, and the third one can be spiritual. So when they come with their issues to you and they are seeking your help, what is the process? Can you take us into the process? For instance, somebody have a physical issues. Do you use the same remedies than somebody who have mental or a spiritual? How do you differentiate those issues and come up with the best herb to help the person?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Um, so honestly, these are never separated.
Mm,
These three aspects of health are never separated. Um, if somebody comes with a physical issues, it's because their mental, emotional, energetic state is really now reflecting or it's resonating deeply in a physical body. So
okay.
the physical body, according to how I see it and how I was trained and how I feel it, is that the physical body resembles some kind of distortion in the energetic, emotional body, spiritual body. So we never just heal one body. We work with the physical, we work with mental, energetic, spiritual, emotional, whatever bodies,
Mm,
layers. We as human beings, we are made of all these layers. We are very complex. We are
yeah.
not just a physical being. You
Mm,
know, like the heart, the physical heart actually resonates with the energetic heart, which is right in the middle of the chest, which is called the heart chakra. So
mm,
when somebody comes with the heart issues, right? That's just an example how it works. If you don't mind, I share it like this.
sure. Yeah.
Um, so if somebody comes with, physical heart issues, okay, and often that physical heart issue, which could be palpitation or it could be maybe high blood pressure, whatever is going on with them, there is a connection to a breath because heart and lungs are part of the heart chakra. So I
Mm,
ask them, do you have any breathing issues, any respiratory issues? Not always, but often I hear yes. I have asthma. I have problems with taking deep breaths. I cannot run. I cannot walk fast. I cannot do this. I feel this chest pain. Okay. All right. So that tells me that there is something going on in the heart chakra, in the energy field, the energy center that holds emotions like grief and resentment. So my next question will be, all right, so tell me what has been going on in your life within the last 10, 15 years? Have you lost, dear ones? Have you lost a beloved? Did something happen that really, really made you feel a lot of pain in your heart? And then the next thing you hear is a story, my husband passed away. I don't have a good relationship with my daughter, with my son. This happened. I was hurt. And so this activates right away the emotional field and the spiritual field. The heart is growing a big, protection wall around it. The person is wounded, is hurt. Maybe there's too much grief. That's why the physical body is reacting. So there are herbs that work on all these levels. Actually, all the herbs work on many levels. That's why I teach spiritual herbalism, because nothing is just physical. So for a person who is having these issues, let's say it's the heart issue connected to a breath, to lungs, then I will say, okay, why don't we try hawthorn? Okay, hawthorn, every herbalist or every person who likes herbs knows hawthorn is the ultimate herb for the heart. It soothes the heart, it releases grief, it helps to relax the heart muscle. It
Mm.
opens up the heart chakra. And then I'll say, why don't we try a little bit of mullein, this beautiful plant that supports the lungs. It actually resembles lungs. The leaves resemble lungs. And it helps the person breathe better. It supports the mucous membranes of the lungs. It actually removes too much fluid in the heart, physical heart, so the heart can work better. So here we go. We have a remedy of two herbs that can do so much. So if we start with that, and then if somebody feels, connected to me and their energy resonate with mine, they often ask, is there anything else you can do for me? Can I come in for some kind of energy healing? And I say, yes, we can do that. And if it's a person who lives far away, we do a remote session. If it's a person who is here locally, they come to my studio and we do energy healing session. So it's a complex approach that works on all the levels of us as humans. It's never just one. And that's why the conventional medicine is, it doesn't work very well because it only focuses on the physical. And we are not just physical beings. We are
I see.
so much more.
I
So
see.
that's how I approach pretty much anything, any issue when I work with people.
So is intertwined. There is the spiritual, the physical, the energy. Everything is going in the same vibes, and you are trying to connect them and to heal them in all level. I'm assuming you must develop a listening skills. How were
Yeah.
you able to? Because often, you know, to be a I'm just thinking to be a good healer, you have to listen the person who have the problems so better to better understand. So listening, was it part of your education, or you are a listener through the process of uh, providing healing? What is the importance of listening to the people who have issues in your profession?
Yeah. So that's a really wonderful question.
Mm.
Um, it's definitely listening, but it's not just listening with the ears. It's so the trainings that I went through, especially the Trans Codes and Gaia School, and then my own practice taught me to listen with my heart,
Mm.
listen with the ears, listen with my heart. So again, tapping into that intuitive feeling. Okay, what am I feeling with this person? Right? When we are working with energies, we don't just listen, we feel. I can feel that this person is struggling in this and this area. What they share, I ask questions so I can hear them, in a way, explaining what's going on with them, but I'm also watching. Listen, what I'm listening, I'm watching, I'm feeling. Okay, what is happening with them? And this is like the psychology, divine psychology of the body is when we use these different tools of listening, tuning in, trusting my intuition that what I'm feeling is the feeling of the person, of their field, not necessarily mine. That's what we call it, the energetic discernment. I need to discern what is mine, what is not mine, what is coming from a person. That's where the training with Transco came in very strongly. So, these are the tools that we use in modern healing, way high, higher, it's a little bit of a higher um, um, steps, I would say, is when we use all the senses when we work with people, right? It's not just listening to the words, but listening to, everything that the person is expressing, you know. So I don't know. That's how I perceive it. That's how I see it. And I'm sure that a lot of people who do what I do or similar things, they would probably tap into a similar explanation.
Mm. I'm also assuming that, um, whenever we have a physical or mental and or spiritual, there is the main view that you need to go see a doctor or you need to go to the hospital and be prescribed with a medication and things. Um, the people who have the courage to consult you, how do you, um, often is the second part because there are many views against herbal healings in our society. How you, how do you build the trust
Mhm.
um,
Well,
to with those people who kind of their first experience coming to choosing the path of herbal healings? How do you
yeah.
build trust with them?
First of all, I never deny, like if any, I am not a substitute for conventional medicine.
Mm,
It's just an addition. Okay,
yeah.
often it's just
Okay.
addition, and just because I do go to a doctor sometimes, once in a blue moon, but I go, right?
Mm,
So I'm not against it. It's just there needs to be a balance how much power and how much responsibility we give to the conventional medicine and how much, responsibility we need to take on to take care of ourselves.
mm,
So there needs to be a balance. That's all. They both
okay.
can exist,
Mm,
but in equal, respect, right? Equally respecting each other, which doesn't exist yet, but it's getting there slowly.
mm,
People who don't resonate with energy healing, herbal healing, all this, some people call it new age. There's nothing new age about it. It has existed, millenniums for a long time. But like alternative, I would say, or
mm,
traditional, we are more of a traditional healing.
mm,
People who feel called to it, they will come. People who don't, they don't come. They simply don't come. If they don't feel that this is something for them, I've never had somebody who would say, I'm not really into this, but I want to try it. No. Then you know what? When you're ready, come back because the most important thing that you want to do is you want to follow your intuition. If your intuition is telling you, I want to go to energy healing, anybody, whoever, like to go to a Reiki healer, any kind of natural healing, first of all, you gotta tap into your intuition. Is it something that I want to do? Yes. I feel like it's gonna be good for me. Okay, then I'm gonna go. If people don't feel it, I never get a person who will be like, I don't really believe this, but I'm just gonna do it. And then I'm like, well, then before you decide, before you pay, take a moment. Do you really want to try this? Are you ready? Because if you're not, don't even waste your money. Just
mm,
because half of the work it's not me. I'm not some kind of miracle healer. I'm not. I'm working with your energy. I'm working with your body. Your body needs to be receptive. Your body needs to be open to receive. If you're not open to receive, nothing's going to happen. Nothing positive or nothing at all. So part of in healing, herbal healing, energy healing, is that person who is seeking that healing needs to be open to receive.
I
If they're
see.
not open, none of the healing will get there. Okay, so I think that I can say this in on behalf of the entire establishment of energy healers and herbalists that people need to be open to receive.
I see.
And if they're not, they will not knock at the door. They're just not gonna come. Most of the time, I mean, all the time, all the people that I've been working with and people who come to my workshops and want to learn from me, it's because they feel inspired to try it. There's something in them when they feel so done with what they've done so far,
Mm,
and they just want to try something different and new, and they have this feeling that maybe that's gonna be good for them. And
I,
99.9%, it is
mm,
going to be beneficial to them.
So there must be a trust
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the path.
of course.
When you are dealing with your patient, if I can call them that way, you
No,
can correct.
they're not my patients. They're never
Okay,
my patients. Clients.
a client. Okay, you
That could
can.
put me in prison in this country, in many other
Okay,
countries. We don't have
so
patients because we're not doctors.
I take it away. Your
Yeah,
clients. Um,
clients. Uh-huh.
do you already have, after listening to your clients, and um, feeling them being in their shoes, like you say, do you already have herbs that you can share, or you have to go find the herbs yourself and make it? What is the process to
Oh.
help your clients?
Well, in the modern world, thank goodness, we have this easy access to get herbs.
Mm,
Um, Herbalist has exploded in the last 20 years.
okay.
Yeah, so there's so many organic farms in the
Mm,
US. There are so many, different distributors of herbs. I guess the challenge now is not to how to get herbs, but rather how to find good quality herbs. So you
okay.
see behind me right here, I have
Yeah.
my best allies. That's what I work with mostly. I travel to Poland every year, every summer, and I
Mm,
forage with my father and my mom, and
mm,
I, go to a really nice, clean areas and the mountains where we forage herbs that are very hard for me to get here.
mm.
And not because they're not here, it's because the quality is not great. So I
Okay.
rather pay the ticket, go there and spend my 3 weeks foraging and drying and spending time with my mom and dad at the same time. So it's just double pleasure. And then come back and have these herbs here. I also grow herbs here. So
Mm,
in order to make a lot of tinctures like these elixirs that are made with, alcohol, you need to have fresh herbs. A lot of them cannot be used with dry herbs. So I need to grow these herbs, so I can make medicine. And I have another cabinet in the other part of the house that is full of jars of made medicine because I can only make it in the summer. So by
mm,
now, everything is extracting. So pretty much every herbalist that is practicing has their own little apothecary with herbal remedies they make themselves. So I love that I can do this even though it is really, really challenging to grow things here. I live at 6,000 feet elevation, high desert, rocks, boulders, creatures that come want to come and eat everything because we don't have a lot of rain. We only get rain, in the summertime for a short time, and the monsoon season shows up or it doesn't show up. It's always random, and it's not the herbs that grow up north, like in the Midwest or Montana, all the way up, northern part of the U.S. that are easy. They just grow anywhere without any particular care. Here, I have to nourish them. I have to water twice a day, starting in June all the way till August or September. So, I put so much love and care to grow these herbs because I do not know how I could do what I do without having these remedies. And I don't only use them for myself. I also have an online store, and I have a place where I sell my remedies here locally. So I want to share these remedies, these beautiful, made with love, special herbal extracts with the
mm,
community, because there's nothing better than taking something that is made locally, taking the local medicine and taking it in the area where you live. That is just precious, precious.
mm,
But yeah, so I usually have things ready to go. That's why I work hard all summer I travel and make things, buy bottles of different alcohols. I can make these different remedies because, herbs work different with different alcohol. So, it's a full-time job to keep this going, keep the apothecary going,
mm.
but it's fascinating and I love it. And I'm so happy that I can provide our community here with locally made remedies.
I see. As you know, the reason of this conversation is to unveil the secrets of herbs. And I'm going to dive into that. Would you mind just share like 3 or 5 herbs names and their importance on providing healing to people?
Hey, yeah, so I was kind of trying to prepare for this because I have 44 allies, herbal allies that I love and
Okay.
I teach about them every year. So
Okay.
to narrow it down to like three was extremely difficult, but I got it. I'm ready.
Oh,
So
you can do five.
okay, let's go to five. Great. So, in a nutshell, because there will be a lot of talking, so I'm going to try to narrow it down to the essence.
Mm,
So, I'm going to start with the herbs that I grow in my garden.
mm,
These are herbs that they not naturally in their habitat here. They are, like my first ally that I fell in love with, my herbal ally is holy basil. And
okay.
holy basil also is known as tulsi, and it's a extremely amazing, super aromatic plant that belongs to the family of mints, and it's very easy to grow, and it does really great here, even though there's not much humidity in the summertime. It
Mm,
still maintains, and it does very well. This is a remedy for anyone who it's for anyone who is seeking a daily nourishment with herbs. Holy basil or tulsi, it works on all the body systems, from immune system to reproductive system to mostly nervous system and digestive system because it's an aromatic and it's a carminative, but it's also a powerful adaptogen. So it helps us protects us from negative side effects of stress. It's so easy for children to drink it. If you're picky, you don't like different flavors, this is such a yummy, delicious herb to drink. I would say that the connection to the heart is very important to me because Tulsi brings this energy of love, unconditional love. So if
mm,
somebody is dealing with, just a lot of resentment and grief, I love give them Tulsi. I make this remedy out of a fresh herb with rose hydrosol. I call it Tulsi Love for anybody who needs a daily dose of love. Just pure love vibration into the heart. So that's Tulsi.
mm,
Number two, skullcaps, Cutelaria, that grows. This is the native plant of Northern America and actually grows in the wild in the Arizona, different Arizona areas. I've never found it in the wild, but it grows very well here in my garden. Scutellaria or skullcap is the remedy for people who are overwhelmed with thoughts and thinking, too much analyzing. And
mm,
I also like to use medical astrology. So if you are a Gemini or you're a Virgo, or even if you're Libra, you can really benefit from skullcap because you are the person who thinks a lot. You are the people who just keep so much in your heads. You're very airy. So drinking skull cap, just like the name indicates, it's like putting a cap on a skull, like tuning energy back into the body. So it's very soothing, very relaxing. It helps us calm down. It helps us, come back to ourselves instead of just constantly overthinking things. It's a wonderful remedy for nighttime. It helps people fall asleep, calms down. So I make different remedies with skull cap. It's such a easy to take, another very easy to take remedy, just few drops a day. So really, really love skull cap for people who just think too much. They're overwhelmed with how much they process. Okay, so that's to nettle. I have to talk about stinging nettle because this is every herbalist ally. I also grow it in my garden. It doesn't grow wild in here. We don't have enough moisture and good soil to grow it. So it grows really great in a garden. Stinging nettle is the plant of protection. It stings when you touch it. It has this tiny little hair and it stings your skin and it gives you a little rash. So that tells us that it likes to protect. So if you need protection in your daily life, you can work with this plant just taking a few drops a day. It also is very nourishing. So it's amazing for women who feel depleted, both women and men who feel depleted. Maybe they don't have the best diet, they don't eat a lot of healthy foods. Drinking every day, drinking herbal infusion with nettle really helps to replenish you with all the nutrients, enzymes, minerals, vitamins. It's very rich in chlorophyll. Actually, I'm drinking it right now. It's super
mm,
green. So it balances your pH levels. And energetically, this is a really wonderful ally. And I'm going to speak about women right now, women who feel restrained and kind of cannot, open themselves up. This is the remedy for wild and untamed, to like really open yourself to this wild side. And wild doesn't mean that you do crazy things. Wild just means that you are open and free. So that's what the energy of nettle is. And then I'm gonna talk about, let's see, burdock root. I love burdock root. It sounds just like my last name, Burdek, burdock. Some people
mm.
even make a mistake and they write burdock instead of burdock. Burdock root is one of my favorite allies because it's the remedy of deep cleansing, deep support, especially for people who have joint issues. It's a natural lubricant for the joints. It's a tonic for the liver and gallbladder. It helps the lymphatic system cleanse and drain a lot of, toxins and metabolic waste out of your body. And because of that, it supports immune system. And it's just a very loving plant. It gives us a lot of minerals and enzymes and vitamins. It helps with blood pressure, regulates, nutrients in our body. Really, really wonderful ally. So easy to drink. It helps your bowel movement. So if you have a lot of issues with constipation, this is your ally. So that's in a nutshell, burdock root. And then we'll go to the herb number 5, and I think I'm gonna go to kava kava. So
Cover.
kava kava is becoming more popular, and I have a very soft spot for kava kava because it opens the throat chakra and it grounds the energy, and then it beautifully opens the third eye, which means that when we get into fall and winter, like right now, this is the time. This is where the the veil is very thin, and we can connect with a lot of different energies. Kava kava helps us to ground, to create that inner communication, but also it opens the throat chakra so we can communicate with others in a better way. It's a medicine of the heart. So if you have a lot of anger or frustration with your family, it's really nice to drink kava kava before you go on to holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and
Mm.
you drink it so you have a little bit more openness towards your family and you can speak your truth. Kava kava is a powerful um, nervine. It really calms the nervous system. It can be a sedative, like it can really help you go into sleep and relax. And for some people, not for everybody who's going through depression, definitely amazing for anxiety because it really calms that nervous system so you don't think so much and you worry so much. But for some people with depression, it can be too much unless you are just having like a light moments of depression. They can be uplifting. So really great remedy for people who just feel like they are completely disconnected and they need to connect back into themselves.
I,
Okay,
s-
there
I,
we
s-
go. 5 plants.
I see. It's quite interesting. In the herbal goddess healing, you indicated that sometime you organize a workshop. Can you tell us a little bit uh, uh, about your workshop? Are the workshops is open to everybody, or is a specific genders, or how people can, if they want to join your workshop, how can they do that?
Thank you. Yeah, so for the past 5 years, this is my 6 year teaching. I've been teaching, facilitating these well, this year it's only online, but normally it's online and in person, but this year I'm only doing online. It's a series of workshops. We start in November. Yesterday was our first opening night, and then the journey throughout the fall, winter, spring into summer. So we go through 4 seasons. We end in June, and this is an open series, which means anybody can come in at any time. I do have a core group that we start with. Um, and there is a workbook with it, and I created a workbook so it's easier to learn. And these series of workshops, they go through every body system. So we go from immune system, lymphatic system, reproductive system, digestive system, respiratory system, nervous system, tapping a little bit into little aspects of other systems in the body, and also we go through the 7 chakras. So this is how I was taught, and that's what I'm teaching now. We go through 7 energy centers, learning about it, learning a little bit of the psychology of each chakra, and what is the relationship between the body, physical body system, and the chakra. What is the connection, and what are the herbs that can support both physical body and the energetic body. So that's the journey. So every month we start a new module, and like I mentioned before, it is open to the public for anyone who wants to join. It is mostly, actually, this year it's all women. I only had a man once, like 3 or 4 years ago. So not too many men want to do it, but it is open to both men and women. Um, and it is a journey. So it's not just a class, it's not just a workshop. It's literally a journey where people who are participating, my apprentices, they're they're learning how to tap into themselves, how to find that space within themselves that maybe needs to be healed, that they don't maybe have not understood it so far. And now as they go from, class to class, from one energy center to another, from one body system to another, they're unfolding. Oh, wow. Okay, I can see a pattern. This is what's happening. So it's really nice to join the whole program. But if somebody just wants to come in, I have people coming next month just to try and see if they want to stay. That's fine as well. It is open everyone, to anyone at any point. It is a beautiful, beautiful journey. And I highly recommend it for anybody who wants to learn about herbs, learn about energy healing, learn about self-love and self-care.
I see. Um, when you come to your work, as you indicated, you taught at schools, you work in stores, and this is becoming your full-time job now because this is your calling. How how can you reconcile the healing part and the business part? And are there challenges? And if there are challenges, you don't mind sharing with us.
Um, That is probably the biggest challenge of doing this full time.
Mm.
In the beginning, this was just a little side thing that I did, not even to supplement my income, just because I loved doing it. I wanted to help people. I wanted to do it.
Mm.
So in a way, it was easier. The moment it became my full-time job, um, to keep it authentic, keep it real, not to focus on money, but focus on the work was a journey itself.
Yeah.
So um, it, this is my 5th year doing it full time. And I feel that just now I'm arriving to the place where I simply don't think about money all the time. I don't think about how am I gonna get through another month. Like, I think that trusting this process and the fact that every year, I'm busy every day. I, teach herbalists every year. I have clients every year. I do, like this year, I was facilitating 4 retreats. I was a co-facilitator for the fourth one. I do women's retreats, Slavic women retreats, local here in Arizona, Sedona retreats. So I just trust that I am on this path, and this path is what I came here to do. Hence, I don't need to think about money. Money will always come, and money will be always provided. And when I finally tap into that mentality that I can think about money, the healing work stays authentic. It stays based in my heart. It is when we try to turn it into like this business with profit and thinking about profits and thinking about predictions for next year and structuring into a business plan. It doesn't work. It didn't work for me.
Mm.
And I remember my first year working with an accountant, a professional accountant, and that's exactly what she asked me, was like, what is your business plan? What is your prediction for profit? And I was just like, no, I can't go that way. I just it's not there. It cannot be my, and I some people can possibly will disagree with this, but this is how it's been for me, and it's been going very well. It's just not, I cannot think of it as a business. I have to think of it as a just living my path and sharing the healing and not thinking so much about how am I going to do with money. Money always comes because that is just the law of the universe. When you do what you love, the universe provides. And I know this is kind of new agey feeling, but right now this is how it fits in my brain and how it feels safe in my body, and I can continue doing this. Uh, I am I am a Pisces woman, so in my Piscean world, I
Mm.
don't have numbers,
I see.
so numbers stay behind a little bit, and I've learned a lot of new things on this path of working this way. I've learned to appreciate, and I'm continuously learning to appreciate every single day this slow life of, not needing to rush to go to work and not needing to be on a schedule all the time. It's like my schedule is fluid, and I can finally rest a little bit more. And there's just this freedom if I only trust and I have this intuition within me that is guiding me, and I try this intuition, I trust this intuition, everything feels different and lighter, and life is just going and moving, and I can travel and I can eat good food and I can cook for myself, and I never think that I don't have enough. I'm always grateful that every single day I receive enough and I'm provided for, and that's what keeps it going, I guess.
I see. If somebody wanna learn more about the herbal world and its healings, can you recommend few books that somebody can read to
Yeah,
better learn
yeah,
about
yeah.
the secret
So
of herbs?
yeah, so I actually highly recommend the Susan Weed book, The Healing Wise. It's a small green book. She is the wise woman herbalist, and she writes about herbs in a way that is just beautiful and easy to learn. So I highly recommend that. It's full of simple recipes. There's also a book called The Witch's Apothecary by Marisha Murnovska. She was my teacher, and her book is excellent. I kind of use that book a little bit like a textbook because it teaches the wheel of the year and all the different rituals and herbs for each season. Really beautiful book. I recently picked up a book called The Spiritual Herbalist, which is the kind of like the name of my workshops, and I've been reading that book, and I really like it too. It's the teachings of this herbalist, which I can't remember the name right now, but it's called the spiritual herbalism, are very close to the way I see. It's actually almost identical the way I perceive herbalists and how I like to share herbal teachings with people. So these are the three books I highly recommend
Mm,
for people who are new to herbs, so people who are just diving into natural healing. These are not the herbal books that where you're gonna have a name and then detail kind of clinical description of herbs. This is more where you learn about herbs from a very different, poetic, kind of easy to follow descriptions. It's a little different.
I
So
see.
these are the books that are really fun to read. They're very interesting and they're not so educational. They're more like storytelling books.
I see. If a young, for instance, a young girl, a newcomer in the field of herbal healings, come to you and seek for advice, can you share a few advice you are going to give to that young girl who wanna make it as a profession?
Yeah, young girl, young
Mhm.
boy, young
Yeah.
man, because there's so many, male young men who are into herbalists, and
Mm,
like when you look back, it was mostly men who were herbalists. Women were not allowed to practice herbalists for the longest time, 300 years ago. They were
mm,
called witches for that. But now, yeah, so the way I teach herbalists and the way I share herbs is all about returning to the heart and intuition. So, if you want to tap into the magic of herbs, not just learning from books, not just dry learning, but truly connecting with herbs, you begin your journey with, tapping into yourself. How are you with yourself? How open are you with yourself? How honest are you with yourself? do you see all the aspects of yourself? So kind of doing the inner work, and then you just learn by maybe finding a couple of herbs in your area, just even using an app to recognize what the herb is, and maybe learning, just reading few details about the herb, and then go back and see that herb, how it changes throughout the year, well, especially between spring and fall, and connect. And this is what's magical about spiritual herbalists or these intuitive herbalists like myself. We want people to go in and find an herb outside their house and find out what the herb is, learn a little bit about it, and then look how it changes. Look how it, and sit with that herb, like observe it. That is the best way. You don't need to know, 60 herbs right away, just dry information from the book. What about if you learn about 5 herbs because you watch them grow, because you look at the leaves and you smell it. You try to get a little bit more information from the herb from just observing it. That is a true herbalist. A true herbalist is an herbalist that observes, sees, and takes information, not just from the books.
Mhm.
That's a great addition, but from actual experience with an herb. So if there's a young person who will be listening to this and they're like, I kind of think I would like to work with herbs, what do I do? You don't necessarily have to go and order 25 jars of herbs, right? You don't do that. Start with neighborhood walks, check it out, what grows around you, notice the different herbs. Get an app on your phone. This is what's very helpful right now. You can just get an app and identify what herb is it. Is it a medicinal herb or is it just a random weed that grows? A lot of the weeds are medicinal herbs. Even if it's just a dandelion growing, around the block, just notice it, how it grows, how it changes, and you do the first interaction is very important. How does it feel when you are next to this herb? Do you feel like you like this herb? Or maybe it's a no-no. Just tune in and feel, and that's how you begin the journey.
I see. Um, if somebody want to learn more about your work and about Herbal Goddess Healing Organization, what should they do? What can they do to learn about your works and your
Yeah, so
organization?
Yeah, so please visit my website, herbalgoddesshealing.com, herbalgoddesshealing.com. And right there you will find all the different details about my work, my offerings, all the remedies that I make, or most of it, I should say. Um, you can also go find me on social media, of course, Facebook, Herbal Goddess Healing, Instagram, Herbal Goddess Healing. So I'm pretty active on social media, share a lot. It's part of my work. It's just in today's world, if you want to run this thing full time, you kind of have to be present on social media. And like I said, I'm training to become a naturopathic practitioner, which means that in the future I'll be able to do more one-on-one, clients, and do some a little deeper work. I've been taking clients for the past 4 years, um, people who are struggling with different health issues, different emotional issues. So if you seek that, if that's something that you would like help with, reach out to me. I already do use these new tools like tank evaluation. I use medical astrology to help to figure out what you might need. So I have all these different tools. And yeah, thank you so much.
Miss Margot, again, thank you very much for joining me on the human right tree. I'm grateful of the journey, the conversation we had, and I look forward also maybe in the near future, catching up and learning more about your journey because as you indicated, there is not ending. It's the continual learning process and during the journey by following your path, you will always learn and learn and keep learning. But Because of the time, we have to end it here. I just want to say thank you very much for sharing your precious time and joining me under the human right tree and talk about the secret of herb and your organization, Herbal Goddess Healing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alpha. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, take care.
Thanks.
Bye bye.